Welcome to Define You Radio After Dark Conversations, where real people have unfiltered conversations about the topics that influence the way we think, feel, and move each week with your host, Valencia Griffin Wallace.
Today on After Dark Conversations, we're going to talk about 5 things I have learned by going MIA. I'm your host, Valencia Griffin Wallace, and welcome to Define You Radio's After Dark Conversations, where we have unfiltered conversations about everything. If you like the show, go ahead and subscribe. Do you feel like you need a detox from all the BS that is going on in the world today? 2020 is the year, the straw that broke the camel's back, and this camel needed a break. It's a year where shit really, excuse my French, Spanish, and English, hit the fan. I needed a break, and I'm sure most of you guys can relate. If you follow me on social media, you know I kind of went quote unquote dark. Literally, I had people texting my phone, are you okay? Sending emails because I got off social media. I stopped recording new podcasts, and I haven't dropped a book since earlier this year, but I'm still good with that because if you've listened to any of the old shows, you know, I said I'm going to drop one book a year. So I'm covered for 2020. Anyway, After Dark Conversations really has been in my mind for the last couple of years. You only can be on this happy-go-lucky and try to empower the world trip for so long. And then you finally start to see that some people just don't want to do shit. There's no other way for me to say it. Some people just want that constant motivation, that constant cheerleader that they'll get whether they do good or bad. It's kind of like getting that participation trophy when you were still at the starting line trying to stretch or something. I don't know. But long story short, it's a few things I learned. And I want you guys to definitely take notes on this because if you don't stop and take a break and take care of you, you're going to get swept up in the madness. You're going to end up just, I don't know. They say suicide rates are up, divorce rates or divorce filings are up. All of those things are up because you just look at the world today. I'm really on this whole aliens come and get me type trip, but that's for another topic. So this is kind of like the introduction of After Dark Conversations, and also just to kind of catch up and let you guys know what's been going on in my world and what I have learned. Number 1, I learned that I could take a break without making an announcement, period. There's something I've always said that those that don't appreciate your presence make them appreciate your absence or something of that. And you guys kind of have to excuse the way that I'm talking. I've been battling allergies and colds and those things. No corona. I take my elderberry and all of the above, but I didn't want to keep putting this off till I got my voice all the way straight. And when you listen to this episode, kind of a side note, it is this episode will release September 1st. I'm recording it October, I can't even think, August 31st. So we're just coming off a week of, two supposed hurricanes back to back. Of course, here where I live at in the bottom part of Louisiana, we fared pretty well, at least the majority of the people that I know of. But to friends, family, and listeners in other parts of Louisiana that did feel the effects of last week, just know that we are definitely thinking about you, and just Louisiana strong all day. That's all I could say about that part. So number 2, what did I learn by going MIA? Those people that truly care about you will find you. Period. They will reach out. So if you're ever wondering who cares about you, look for those people that'll shoot you a text, or you'll run across in some way, shape, or form, or will take the time out to actually send you an email if they don't have like your personal phone number or whatever to check on you. Those are the people, so where if you're in a position like mine, or you're an author, speaker, what have you, you're making posts hoping that thousands or at least hundreds of people see it and they care about you, they taking your advice, it keeps them going. And then you drive yourself crazy like I was, like wanting to make sure you put out the best information, the best motivation to help people, all of those things. And it really becomes an unpaid job, so to speak. I mean, you get paid in other ways, but I'm just saying, like, pay attention to who contacts you when you kind of get off of that horse for a little bit. Okay. That's lesson number 2. Number 3, I learned me. I really learned me. And I say that in a way of, I was able to pay attention to my mind and my body. I had to take myself off of autopilot and figure out, Valencia, why are your feet hurting? Why are you tired? Why do you like this? Why do you like that? Why is your daily routine this way? I spend a lot of time asking myself why. And I always say, any goal, you should have 5 whys, and if it didn't make sense, or, don't do it. So it's a lot of things I stopped doing, and a lot of things I started, right? So when Corona or COVID, whatever you want to call it, came upon us, and it was people hoarding tissue and hoarding this and craziness, and the grocery stores are going to go bare. And even though we weren't having those issues necessarily where I live, I was seeing it on the news, which will put you in the state of paranoia. So what did I do? I started buying seeds, and I'm like, F this, I'm going to learn how to grow some stuff. And so I got tomato plants. Mind you, I haven't produced any fruit. I have little fruit that's growing into big, healthy fruit. The tomatoes are still green, things like that. So, I know nothing about planting, gardening, what type of season to plant this, pruning with that, how much water, none of it. But I was determined, and I still am, to become self-sufficient, at least when it comes to my vegetable supply. So I will keep you guys posted on that. But what I took from that, even though it started off like, okay, at least I could feed myself. If Walmart or whatever never has any more grocery, I could live off tomatoes and cucumber, right? But there is something peaceful about watching a plant go from seed to where you just see the soil, to sprouting, to something bigger. And that's what I learned. So it wasn't so much about me learning how to grow my own fruit as it was about me watching something grow, if that makes sense. And I found peace in that. Mind you, if you know me, you know I really kind of don't like nature. I don't like the bugs in the grass and all of those things, even though I live in a somewhat country, even though they're building like crazy area. But it's something peaceful about that. So I would definitely say that if you are looking to learn, try to incorporate some peace into your day. Even if you live in an apartment, they do make like small plants that you could grow indoors or on the balcony. I would definitely look into that. Something else that I learned during this time period is my skin looks so much better without makeup. Now, if you've seen pictures of me, especially when I used to do my photo shoots and all that, I would be makeup head to toe, everything, lashes, the whole nine. During this time period, I learned how to really take care of my face, not wearing makeup, which my skin looks really good. Looking at healthier, more natural alternatives to use things for my face. And I have enjoyed that, just seeing my face as it ages gracefully and naturally. So I've really been getting more on that natural tip, like turmeric and baking soda, aloe, things like that. So that's something else I've learned. Definitely learning more about meditating. Now, I think a couple of the last episodes I did of Define You Radio classes in session, I talked about, finding my peace and balance after the retreat that happened last year and just really figuring out what's important to me. So, After Dark Conversations is the result of all of that. It's the result of me being at peace with who I am. And I say that because a lot of my audience, a lot of people that listen or follow me are what people would call really religious or churchy. And that's not who I am. I could quote the Bible better than most, and that's something we'll delve into in another show when it comes to religion versus spirituality and those things. But really during this time period of dealing with Corona, I've seen a lot I didn't like from quote unquote the religious community. And I'm gonna just leave that alone. But After Dark Conversations are those conversations I would have with my friends and associates and stuff, and not necessarily things I would post or talk about because it was quote unquote off brand, right? So After Dark is where it's about us. It's about the way we move, the way we feel, the way we think about everything. And that's it. So I hope you guys kind of enjoyed this intro conversation, this intro of After Dark Conversations, some things I learned by going MIA, and maybe you need to as well. Social media detox is something I've periodically engaged in 2019 and before, and I really see where my mental health has gotten better. So during this time where unemployment is high, where we see a lot of racial incidents, where people are losing their jobs and their homes and those different things like that, maybe a detox is what you need to kind of get your foot back on a little bit of solid ground. So that's what I would say. The tip of the day, which is something I'm going to close each show with. And most of the time I'm going to have guests. Sometimes it's just going to be me for just a pop in, just to discuss some stuff. And of course, I want to hear you guys' thoughts. You could always let me know those things by going to valenciagwallace.com. Kind of makes it easy for you. The tip of the day: do you for you, no explanation necessary. And whatever that means to you. Does that mean that you just take 2 days where you lay in the bed with a wine cooler or a daiquiri or something? Does it mean that you start incorporating naps? Does it mean that you take time out to just shut everything down and learn how to do a facial or a bubble bath? I don't know. For everybody, it means something different. But that's the tip of the day. Do you for you, no explanation necessary? Because guess what? At the end of the day, you're the only person that has to spend 24 hours a day, 365 days a year with yourself. Period. So with that being said, thank you so much for listening. If you would like to add your 2 cents or something you would like to hear my thoughts on for After Dark Conversations, you could do so at defineyouradio.com. Until next time, remember, have the conversations that make you think, feel, and do something that makes a difference.
You have been listening to Define You Radio After Dark Conversations. If you learned something, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with your friends, family, and foes. Make sure you go over to defineyouradio.com and subscribe for our monthly giveaways and more.